like to refer to Google as your hardest working employee. How to use Google tools to create systems in your business, to optimize those systems, and then to also be innovative and do cool, different things. A lot of people's Google Drives are a dumpster fire. They can't find anything in it. I want you to feel a sense of digital peace.
Hey there, welcome back. Today we've got Adrienne Farrow. Welcome, Adrienne. She is pretty much the Google Tools guru, I think is probably an appropriate title. And this is like such key stuff to know when you're an entrepreneur, because you can waste so much time on being inefficient. And there's so much amazing technology. And I love, Adrienne, some of the stuff you wrote in there I'm using and I don't even know how to use it. So I'm so excited to have this conversation. So welcome. How are you doing today? Where are you located, by the way?
I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, okay. So you're on the western side here.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. So it's a sunny, beautiful day, but cold. A lot of people don't realize Las Vegas is very cold in the winter. But we do dip down because we're high desert. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you got the extremes. That's for sure.
Definitely. Definitely.
Very nice. But you're a quick flight away from a lot of great places as well.
Exactly.
So you can escape it.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, okay, let's dive in. I think, first of all, just give us an overview of, Google technology in general, tools. I think it's so important to stay up to date as we get older, as I approach 50 in a few years. It's something I really strongly make a conscious effort to stay up to date on, just tools like this, like Google and technology in general. What's your take on how important, these types of tools are these days? It seems like it's just, you got to know this stuff, right? But it's kind of hard to figure out. What's your perspective on that?
I completely agree. I like to refer to Google as your hardest working employee, because it really is like the foundation of a lot of online business owners or startup business owners or whatnot. We're so used to Gmail, Drive, Calendar, all of those tools, because oftentimes we have like a free plan, and a free plan can definitely get us started with our business, but there is a business paid plan that has a lot of really cool tools that really help to, explode your business in that way. And so when I have clients and students come to me, they're like, wow, I didn't know that. It's like, I don't know what I don't know. Like, you don't know what to implement if you're just not aware that it's out there. So that's what I love to do. And I say I unlock the potential of Google tools for everyone, because I love to share those things of like, did you know this is in Google? Or did you know that this is a capable, you can do this with that, along with some productivity strategy and things like that as well.
Amazing. I love that. And you are a certified Google trainer. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So right there explains why I don't understand all the things I'm using, because the fact that there are certified trainers for this stuff pretty much says that. But I think, like you said, some of it is just we're not aware of it. Let's start with Google Workspace, because I am going to admit I have a Google Workspace account. I just had our corporate credit card changed and I had to update it. And after like 5 reminder emails, I went in and I was like, oh my God, wait a minute. What email is the Google Workspace attached to? And I've got, somehow it's sort of tied to GoDaddy and something else. So I get super confused sometimes with just that back end piece. So if you could give an overview of just Google Workspace, when to use it, and maybe like why I'm finding that confusing, or maybe that's just me and I need to like peel back the layers there.
So there's 2 different options for a Google account. There's a free Google account and then there's a Google Workspace. So when we say Google Workspace, that's the business plan. It's designed for businesses, whether it's just like a one-person business or like an entire company. Google Workspace is what that is for. And so what sets that apart from a free account is that you get your email address at your domain name. So it's connected to whatever your domain name is, usually your website. And so oftentimes you will get that like through GoDaddy or Squarespace. There's a lot of third-party vendors that will say, hey, you can add on Google Workspace for this amount of money. So when it comes to that, you do need to be aware of how you get your Google Workspace, because you can just go in and sign up for Google Workspace and connect your domain. And I help customers do that all the time. So you can go directly through Google. But if you go through like GoDaddy or Squarespace, then oftentimes you have to update any of your payment information or stuff with that third-party vendor, because that's who you've contracted with in order to set up your payment. When you have a Google Workspace account, you have something called the admin console, and that allows you to do so many things, but one of which is your billing. And so you can go into your admin console and take care of that billing, whether it is, upgrading your account, changing your credit card, all that type of stuff. But that's also where you can add employees or users or email aliases. That's something I don't know if a lot of people know is in a Google Workspace, you can get up to 30 email aliases for your email address.
For free?
For free. So
wow, that's crazy.
It's not a separate account. So if you want a separate user, that gives you a separate drive, Gmail, storage, all that stuff. But for your email address, you can add 30 aliases to it. So you can have hello at or info at. And anytime one of those email addresses are sent an email, it will just go directly to your Gmail inbox. So it will just go all there. So that's a cool feature that you don't get on a free plan.
Yeah, no, that's great. Very cool. Yeah, I think that is why I actually set it up. I had Office 365 and I was having emails were coming through to people like unverified and getting flagged. And Google, I think if you do it through Google, it's sort of it's a little more verified. I don't know how you say that, or, you don't run into those kinds of issues, right?
They have a lot of more like security controls and a lot more, especially in regards to like phishing and things like that. Like when you go into your admin console, and sometimes you'll even get an email about it. It'll be like, it'll let you know if something's been flagged or something they found a security issue. Or like I just got an email recently that like one of my users, because I have 3 users in my account, doesn't have 2-factor authentication set up. So it's very like security conscious in that mind, which I really appreciate about the Google tools.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so on the Google Workspace tip, so that is obviously super useful. I think, well, just one thought there. I think it is worth having somebody who knows what they're doing set these things up, because it's so much harder to unwind stuff down the road. So if you're listening and you have not set it up, I don't know. It is so worth it to me to just have it done right in the beginning and versus fumbling through it, making mistakes, trying to figure out, what the heck is wrong later. So I'll just say that.
And I am a Google referral partner. So if you are listening and you want someone to set it up for you, I can do it. And I can also get you a 10% discount on your first year as part of being a Google referral partner. So just zip over an email and let me know, and I can definitely help you out.
Love it. Okay. Yeah. We'll put all your info down below in the show notes for sure. Okay. Let's talk about Google tasks and calendar. Because I think a lot of people in the seed money stage, raising money is kind of a part-time to full-time job. One of the biggest fears can be, that key investor emails you back and you miss it. And I think nowadays, especially, we all get so much email. There's so much junk mail. I finally have somebody managing my email because I was so tired of like not knowing if I was missing something. And so what do you recommend? What are some tools within Google Workspace or Gmail itself that can help kind of keep your email organized?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know you mentioned also calendar and tasks, and the cool thing is really those 3 can work together. So one of the first things I'll say is that there's different ways to organize your email inbox. And so to find the way that kind of makes sense for your brain. So you can have all of your unread emails up at the top and then everything else at the bottom. You can add labels to your emails so that if you to keep track of investors, you could give each investor a label so that you can quickly search for them. The other thing you can do is in what's called the default inbox type, there's a promotions tab. So you can start putting, and you can just drag them up, but any of the newsletters you get or any of those the ones you don't want to unsubscribe from, but the ones you don't want to clog up your email box because that's going to maybe make that you miss an email. So Google can filter those into the promotions tab so you can get all of the important emails and then all of the promotions in a separate area. So there's a couple different things that you can do. And one of the things I love to say is try things out and find what works for your brain, because what works for me might not work for you. And that's why I love to give a bunch of different ideas and things that you can do for it, because all of our brains are different. So there's really no one size fits all. And we have to find what works for us. That also being said, you can connect it to Google Calendar and tasks in a couple different ways. One is Gmail will automatically recognize if you have an email that has a calendar aspect to it and invite. But there's also in Gmail, you can create a calendar event directly from an email. So if someone is like, hey, I want to meet at 10 a.m. on Thursday, rather than having to do a couple clicks to go to Gmail to go to calendar, you can just go up to the top of the email and it says create an event. So you can create an event that way. If you guys are both on Google systems, there is also a way of finding mutual availability within an email. So there's a little button down at the bottom by send that will allow you to either give them certain times based off of your availability that you can meet, or even coordinate if they can recognize that it's a Google Calendar to try and find mutual availability. So those are a couple shortcuts that can help.
That's amazing. Real quick, sorry.
Yeah, no
So
worries.
that was in the bottom of the email. It'll recognize and it'll tell you if both of you are on a Google system. It'll find mutual availability on your calendars. That's insane. That's amazing.
Set up a time to meet, and you can offer the times that you're free. And that will be one of the ways that you can do it. But if you're able to have access or able to connect on the Google Calendar side, that it'll look at availability as well, which is really cool. But offer a time to meet also is really easy, because then you can just put in, hey, here's where I'm free, choose one of these 4 things, and then and go from there. And then it automatically create a Google Calendar event for you that way. And then Google Calendar connects with Google Tasks now. It used to be kind of a separate thing, and now it's up at the top of Google Calendar. And on all of the Google tools, there's a sidebar. You can collapse it or expand it, and it has tasks, which looks like a little checkbox there. And if you open that up, it's a to-do list. It's a very light to-do list. There's not a ton of really robust features, but you can drag an email from your email box into tasks, and it will create a task based off of that email and link to the email, so that when you're in your to-do list, you'll see, okay, I need to respond to this person, or it might trigger that, I need to follow up on XYZ, but you can link back to that email so that you don't have to go searching for it again. So that's really cool.
I use the Google Tasks app on my phone.
Me too.
And I love it because I can think of something, at night or, evening, and I love that you can create the task and set the reminder and it shows up on your calendar.
100%.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But I didn't realize you could do that I've actually never even used tasks from email. I've only been using it on my phone. So that's super cool. Yeah.
Yep. So
love that.
Yeah. So then that way you can quickly just have that access to that email. It can jog your memory. You can put whatever you need to have connected to it. But that's one of
for the really important ones. That's amazing.
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay. So one other one that you mentioned was, before we spoke, was that it can basically replace DocuSign, which I am totally going to look into because I pay for DocuSign. use it a lot. Explain that one, because that's amazing.
So it's relatively new. It came out like in July. I was actually in the middle of filming my signature program, the Go-To Formula, and I did a recording on Google Docs, and then I came back to do another recording on Google Docs, and it suddenly had appeared. And I was like, what is this? I need to look into it. And Google does that all the time. They just will like low-key release things, and then I'm like, I had no idea about that. Let me go find out about that. So what it is that you create a Google Doc, and I should actually put this caveat first. This is only available for paid Google Workspaces, and it is you have to be on the middle plan or higher. So it's the $12 a month. Yeah, $12 a month. Yeah. The $6 a month is like their light version of the business plan, and it doesn't have as many features and capabilities. So you have to be on the $12 a month or higher. And you create your Google Doc, and you can insert in a couple different fields. You can insert in a signature, a text field, an initial, a date. I believe that's it. There might be one more that I'm forgetting. And then you also, decide how many signers that you have. And you get up to 10 signers on a document. And then you include their name and you include their email address. And then once the document is done and you've put in the different fields, it will then send the email out as a PDF. It'll send the document out as a PDF to the different parties, and it'll keep everyone informed of who's signed what. So you'll see different, like a little checkbox by the email of like who has signed it. And then once it's all done, all the parties get a PDF of it with all the signatures plus the detailed timestamps of when everything was signed, which I found out talking to a lawyer at one point in time, that's what makes that legally binding, is that's the component of it. So you need to have that evidence of when people signed what. So another cool thing about it is, as far as I can tell and as far as I know, there's no cap on how many of them you can do, at least at this point. And I know that something like DocuSign and whatnot puts a cap on it. So it's right there in your Google Docs. You could create a template of a contract, just duplicate it, put in the fields, and send it away.
That's amazing. Yeah. And then you don't have to like download it from DocuSign and resave it in the Google Drive. It's all just right in there. I love that. I'm going to check that out for sure. Very cool. I know, it's crazy. So tell us a little bit about, what is your program like? Let's say you're the super busy entrepreneur, like most anybody's busy these days. You could be doing anything, I guess. How do you stay, like what program do you offer to stay up to date on these things or to help implement these things? How do you work with people?
Yeah, so I have a combination of done for you, done with you, and do it yourself kind of scenario. So my signature program is the Go-To Formula, and it's basically a compilation of videos of how to use Google tools to create systems in your business, to optimize those systems, and then to also be innovative and do cool, different things out of the box that you may not realize that Google can do. So it really goes through all of the foundational levels of your tech journey. So a lot of people might just be really in systems and they just really need to create the systems within their business. And then others might feel ready to jump into optimizing. And I call like e-signatures is like an optimizing feature, because you need to be comfortable with Google Docs before you put in, an e-signature. So you can go through that on your own. It's not really a program per se of like, you can like go XYZ. It's more of like I need help with Google Drive. Let me watch these videos on Google Drive and see what the functionality and capabilities are. So more like a video library of accessible content. But then I also offer group support on top of that. So we do a lot of group calls where we dive deep into a tool. We'll bring in questions. Most recently, we talked about Google Calendar, and someone was having trouble double booking themselves and making sure that their spouse got access to certain things and making sure the calendar appointment scheduler could read things. So we just really dive deep and get help with those. And so that's a membership that I have called the Go-To Community, which combines the formula and the support together. And then I do one-on-one calls, so we can hop on a one-on-one call. I can help you troubleshoot or teach you about a specific thing. So if you're wanting to set up e-signatures, we can dive into that on a call and I can help you do that. And then I also do done for you services where I literally will go in and organize someone's Google Drive for them, or I will migrate them from Microsoft over to Gmail, or I will help them consolidate multiple Google accounts into one. And so it's kind of depending on your needs. So some people are like, yeah, I got it. I can do a DIY. I can really do it myself. But then other people are like, I am so busy. Can you just do it for me?
Yeah. And it feels so good to be organized. And I feel like it's constant too. When a business is growing, it's like a constant evolution of organizing new things and adding more organization. It just never ends, does it?
I call it a sense of digital peace.
Oh, I love that.
You want to feel peaceful when you go into your Google Drive, not like hairy, like I say that a lot of people's Google Drives are a dumpster fire. Like they can't find anything in it. You struggle to know where your documents are. And I want you to feel a sense of digital peace when you go in, that you know exactly where your documents are. You know that you can find an email. You know that you're not going to be double booked on your Google Calendar. Like all of those things, feeling just peaceful when we go in will help us save time. And then you can reinvest that time into what makes you money.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's funny. I started off my career in product management. And that it's like a lot, staying very organized, right? We had like multiple calendars, running years in footwear and bags. And that definitely taught me to keep good folder structure and stuff like that. And I'm pretty anal about that stuff. But I find email has been such a challenge. And I think maybe when I started my career, we weren't getting the boatloads of email that we do now, and it just seems to keep getting worse and worse. So getting help with that I think I had it on my list as a goal for like 2 years to get my email dialed in. And I just couldn't do it on my own for whatever reason. I wasn't taking the time to figure it out, or I didn't know how really. Because again, it's not like something that's intuitive. You kind of need some guidance on here's best practices. Here's how to set it up. It's a little bit of a free for all. You could do it so many different ways. So knowing like what the best practices are is so helpful.
And knowing what the features are too, knowing what's possible, what you can use to help you.
Yeah, totally. No, that's amazing. How about Google Slides? That is one I've used Keynote a lot, obviously PowerPoint. I do use Google Slides now. In terms of like people doing pitch decks, any fun features like that maybe aren't, common knowledge around Google Slides?
Let me think. I love Google Slides for so many reasons. I think one of the cool features, and they're actually starting to add some things in there to compete with Canva, because they're wanting to try and get, I think, to that level. So there are some new things in there, like you can remove backgrounds from images, which used to not be the case. You can do a lot of really cool things with it's called masking, but when you crop an image, you can crop it in certain shapes and things like that.
My goodness,
so some
that's cool.
Design elements aspect of that. But for designing a pitch deck or a presentation, a couple of things to think about is how you are sharing that. So if you're sharing it and presenting it yourself, you might not need to do much to it. But if you're sharing it on the web, like emailing it over or even printing it out, some things to consider are you can change the page size of your slides. So you're not locked into that widescreen ratio. You can actually go in and customize the size to make it a paper size. So I know people who make ebooks in there, or their lead magnet in there, or different things like that, just by making it an 8.5 by 11 and then customizing it like that. So don't feel locked into that particular size. And then you can also publish it and put it there. You can embed it inside like a website, or you can embed it inside of a course portal or something like that, or publish it to the web, meaning that you can get a URL link for them to go look at it without having to share it with them. So, and that you go to that, I don't think so, but it's very unlikely it's going to be found by a search engine because it's not going to be SEO optimized. So unless it's been, shared out by someone else, no, not so much. But you can, if you wanted to make it more secure, you could share it with someone as a file, meaning like you can do anyone with the link can view, or you can share it just with that one person. However, the difference between those two is that if you share it by going to the share button and putting it in that person's email address, they're going to see a slide deck as a slide deck. They're going to see all the slides on the side. They're going to see the, full overview. Versus if you publish it, they're going to just see the slideshow. They're not going to see all of the little boxes on the side or something. So it's going to appear a little bit more, professional in that way. So that's, I think, the couple things that I would say. And you can do that with Docs, Google Docs as well. You can publish to the web, and Google Sheets as well. You can publish to the web. So if you want to just share a Google Doc, but you want to just share the document itself, you can do that as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have not done that. I'm going to try that. I can definitely think of some uses for that for sure. Love it. Okay. Anything else that are like the hot tips that people don't know about that we should all be using?
I think, a couple of things that I love to talk about and share. I know you and I mentioned it a little bit before, but appointment scheduling is a feature on Google. So that's Google's way of, in having a native Calendly like appointment scheduler. And that's directly inside of Google Calendar. And so you set it up with your availability. It will read whatever calendars you want it to read. It'll allow you to put a description of the event type. It'll allow you to even charge for that if you wanted to. So do a paid call. And then it will read your Google Calendar to find, all of the holes of when you're available and provide that in a booking page. And you can do in Google Workspace, so the paid version, if you're on that $12 a month or higher, you can have multiple calendars, and that's the level that will also allow you to charge for it. If you're on a free plan or the lowest business plan, you only get one calendar. So that's one of the different, so that's why one of the reasons I say get the $12 a month plan, because you get e-signatures and you get appointment scheduling, so you can ditch both of those tools. So it's really cool. That being said, in my opinion, the UX on it, the user experience is a little less than Calendly. So I do know a lot of people who choose to kind of stick with the tools they already have. They can get a little bit visually cluttered in Google Calendar. And the booking page isn't as pretty as Calendly. But if those things don't matter as much to you, I mean, that's a way of saving money on a tool like Calendly or another appointment scheduler.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're not currently using Calendly and you just are like, want a little assistance, especially for something like, I think, investor meetings, all that stuff. It just makes you look a little more professional. I always say it's like perception and presentation. And yeah, for $12 a month, if you can publish documents, if you can have a calendar link, I mean, all that stuff just makes you look more buttoned up, and it doesn't cost much and makes your life easier. I'm definitely going to look into those. I don't know how much off the top of my head DocuSign, I can't recall, and Calendly cost.
I think both of them are, DocuSign I think is $25. I just did this for a presentation, $25 a month, and Calendly is $10 a month to meet the same level of what Google provides.
Okay. Yep. But still, it's also just the having to go into these other, all these different platforms and integrating them all and stuff like that. So yeah, especially if you're starting from scratch to start with Google, I think that makes a lot of sense. I wish I knew about this. Well, like you said, the new one, the DocuSign thing is newer, but and that is very cool. Too. And so I assume you must put out, obviously you have a YouTube channel, right? How's that going? Are you loving it?
I took a little break at the end of 2024 to focus on kind of building some other things, but that's going to be a huge focus in 2025. So lots of new content coming out. A lot of those just tips, tricks, hacks, things that are going to save you time are on there. So definitely, check those out.
Very cool. Yeah, I think even just sometimes the like, oh, I didn't know about that is so helpful.
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Adrienne. This is so fun. We're going to put links to everything in the show notes. And what's the name of your YouTube channel?
It's just my name, Adrienne Farrow.
Adrienne Farrow. Okay.
Yep, I try and keep it simple. Everything is just my name.
Perfect. I love it. Simplify.
Yes.
That's a good motto. Amazing. Okay. Anything else you want to share before we sign off, or?
Not that I can think of. I guess I do like to end with everybody is techie. That's what I love to say. Everybody is techie. That don't let that like fear of not feeling techie enough let you down or leave you behind. Google tools are so simple, and they're also can be complex, but at the core they're simple. So just find one thing, start with it, look into it, and just don't let fear leave you behind on not knowing these tools or what you can do. Google will support you. That's amazing. Yeah, and just get a little help with the setup if needed, which I need some backtracking help. And it can feel really good to feel like you've got some good tech stack set 100%. Up. So love that. Amazing. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much. So good to connect, and we'll see you soon. Sounds great. Thank you. Okay, have a good one. You too.